Ger Flanagan, Chairman of the Youghal Business Alliance. You had a big meeting, I suppose we could call it, earlier on the week, last Tuesday in town, the Youghal Business Alliance, with members of the Cork County Council, and I see you made a magnificent brochure to go with that. Can you tell me about it last Tuesday?
Thanks, Mike. So I suppose follow on from our previous meeting with the IDA in Dublin, we decided to invite Tim Lucy to a meeting of the Youghal Business Alliance, and in fairness, he facilitated the meeting on Tuesday last. Tim Lucy, Chief Executive of Cork County Council, attended. Valerie O'Sullivan, Divisional Manager, South Cork. Michael W. Lynch, Director of Services, Planning and Strategic Development. Sharon Corcoran, Director of Services for Economic Development and Tourism. Helen Mulcahy, Senior Staff Officer, East Cork Municipal District. We had two county councillors as well. We had Councillor Mary Lynn Foley and Councillor Michael Hagerty, who attended. And the event was hosted by Killian and the staff and Beth there in the Regal Cinema, a fabulous location for the event. And so that was on last Tuesday.
Why did you call the meeting, Ger, and what was the meeting about?
I suppose really the meeting was twofold. We feel that there are two major areas lacking in our town. Number one is accommodation, and number two are jobs. And within that realm, we came up with a number of projects which we presented to Cork County Council on the day, and we obviously, as you say, we produced a brochure. We also had some fabulous video and footage which was shown on the big screen in the Regal Cinema. And we were pitching our ideas to Cork County Council in a nutshell was what I want. We had a number of the Business Alliance in attendance. You were there yourself, Michael, to do with the film project, and we had a number of other projects, and we had other people who were pitching those on behalf of the Youghal Business Alliance in an effort to improve the situation in town as regards employment and accommodation.
Now, Ger, the pitching proposals, you've done a magnificent brochure. It's there in front of you. I'm just going to call out some of the proposals, and if we may, we might go through a couple of them. So some of the proposals were bring the Kathleen and May back to Youghal, a Youghal Marina, a Motorhome Caravan Park, Ashton Court Working Hub, a film archive museum in a state-of-the-art premises, and they were the proposals on the day. I'd like to discuss some other things downtown as well, which, if I may. Ger, go back to the Kathleen and May. The Kathleen and May ship it's a Youghal ship. It's part of our history, our heritage, our culture. It had paid a visit a short couple of years ago. There has been a committee involved in the Kathleen and May, this end of the woods and over in the UK. But your proposal is to actually bring it here back in town. Is that correct?
That's right. That's our goal, and I suppose we've had this since pre-COVID. We have had discussions with the owners of the ship, the family who are involved. Pre-COVID, obviously nothing happened at the time. We've had further discussions. We had Mike Brooks went and visited the ship 2 weeks ago. It's in dry dock in Gloucester, the master off the boat, but it's in excellent condition. It's fully seaworthy. It's perfect. And I suppose the most encouraging news for us is that we have put I won't discuss them here, but we've put a number of scenarios to the family and that own the boat, and basically all the scenarios we put to them are on the table, and they all culminate with the boat being on display permanently in Youghal, open to the public on the quays in Youghal, to attract visitors to our town, and obviously from our heritage point of view, and families who had somebody who might have worked or sailed in it, and tradition and the history that's surrounding her. I think it would be a fabulous addition to the tourism offering within our town.
What would it mean to have it back in town, Joe?
I couldn't quantify it, Mick, because being honest with you, I wouldn't be very familiar with the sea, but talking to people over the last month or 6 weeks, the stories I'm getting back and the love for the ship, like I've had people coming up to me and volunteering. If the ship comes to Youghal, they'll pay their way to go to Gloucester, and they want to sail back and sail up the Blackwater into Youghal on the ship. There's a very strong committee in place at the moment. We'll be announcing a major fundraising drive in the coming weeks, and obviously there will be money involved here, and we will put financial assistance behind it, and our ultimate goal will be to have that ship on the quayside in Youghal to attract visitors and to preserve the heritage of the town.
Joe, where would you be talking about? Would you be talking about in the market dock, as we know it, where the Captain Ahab's sculpture is, or would you be talking about the pier head or the wharf, or further up the double slips up where the old carpets were?
Again, Michael, it's I don't know much. I don't profess to know much about the sea. I leave that to the people who have the expertise. We have enough people in the committee who are all very much seagoing people and have a love of the ship and would know the best location, and obviously to preserve her long term, to have in a good location so it's not affected by the weather. But again, the goal for us is to acquire the boat, have it permanently on the quayside in Youghal, open as a tourist attraction, and as I said, preserving it for the heritage of our town and the history involved, and obviously attracting tourism which will benefit every business in town financially.
Of course, the other double kickback on this year as well is that people have fond memories of when the Pequod was in town when they were filming Moby Dick back in 1954. So the memories of those great sailing ships, to have that back here again would be awesome.
It would be unbelievable, and the thing to remember is this is the last three-masted schooner that is that's currently surviving, apparently in Britain or Ireland. So, you're not just looking at attracting visitors locally or nationally. You're going to have international visitors coming to look at the ship and to see where people, even the living quarters, how the ship operated, see the mast, see it in, obviously full sail, and the ship is seaworthy. No problem sailing it. It has all the paperwork, all the credentials to sail. It's fully approved. So, you don't want to, we can't go into great detail now, but the initial feedback from the people on the other side is positive. It's extremely positive, Michael. It's more positive than when we spoke to them maybe 3 or 4 years ago. But it's extremely, extremely positive. I put maybe 3 or 4 different scenarios to them. They're discussing it at the moment, and they're going to come back to us, and hopefully we can strike an agreement. First of all, the first thing is to secure the ship. When the ship is secured, obviously, then we will need the goodwill of Cork County Council and others involved, probably the government as well, to make sure that we have the ship here long term. Well, it's such a win-win situation, John, because there wouldn't be a fishing family in town, and all the fishermen would love to see this back in their home port. Definitely, and look, again, I'm not seaworthy. I don't profess to know much about the sea, but I can see. I think the fishermen would love to have it back in Youghal. It's great to see fishing improving a little bit in Youghal and more people fishing, and some of my best customers actually in our local coffee shop are fishermen, and it's great to meet them every day and keep up to date and see how they're going, and there is obviously employment, and there is an industry there as regards to fishing, and I think both can survive side by side. One will support the other, and more people in town will mean that there'll be more demand for fish, so obviously more work for the fishermen. Well, fantastic idea, Ger. We'll have to move along to the next proposal that you had there, and that was for Youghal Marina. Now, Ger, the Youghal Marina has been on debate for, I suppose, 25 years now, but you've actually drawn out some plans for a particular area in town for it to happen, up near the carpets again, or the old shipping, is that correct? So again, we're going back to some old, and again, people with experience in the sea, Brian Mahally and Tommy Curtin are driving this on our behalf. We've other people involved as well. And they've put a lot of time into marinas and know a lot about the sea. So there are locations within Youghal that the surveys have been done previously that are suitable for a marina, and that a marina could be developed I'm not really sure what scale, but definitely if we had a marina in Youghal, I think what they term as a necklace effect as regards marinas, whereby people would sail maybe from Crosshaven to Youghal, and they'd spend the night in Youghal. They might sail from Youghal onto Dungarvan or Wexford, and they leapfrog around the country like that. But there seems to be a gap down here. There isn't a marina that's that's suitable, that's close by. It sounds as if there's a demand for that, and obviously with a marina will bring more tourism, more accommodation will be required, apartments, stuff like that. Again, it would put us, I suppose, on the map as regards sailing. Once again, fabulous sailing club here. I remember back in the years, and hopefully a marina will help them as well. And more use, I think, of the River Blackwater. It's called the Irish Rhine. I think it's probably the most underutilised rivers in the country, and it's great to see Tony Gallagher doing his trips every summer. We need more people like Tony. We need more use of the river. And again, coming back to the old story, more people using the river, more tourism, more jobs, and more employment locally.
And of course, Youghal Harbour Bay is one of the safest in the south of Ireland.
I presume so. And again, I don't know much about the harbour and the sea. I did a bit of fishing when I was young. I remember Brendan Corcoran brought me out in the fishing competitions. We had great fun. I wouldn't be great on the boat and I'd get a bit of seasick, but it's a fabulous facility. And the Mal Beach, you've the pier head, and as you say, you've all the other piers around the town.
Ger, you're also talking in your proposal about a hotel up that neck of the woods as well at the north end of town.
Yeah, I suppose we've been kind of looking at that for the last couple of months.
To complement the marina,
yeah, and obviously at the moment there are 6 acres for sale here, a waterfront site. Fabulous. I suppose most people would look at it as the old Youghal carpet site, right on the river. And I suppose our vision would be if we could attract a hotel group or a developer to maybe, we've got 6 acres, so it's probably way too big for a hotel on its own, but you could very easily put a hotel and apartment block in there, and if you had a marina in front of it, I think it would be a fabulous. And the big vision would be the hotel, the apartment block, marina, and then possibly the Kathleen and May. Then you're obviously hitting both of our goals. You're hitting your accommodation and you're hitting your employment goals, which we were pushing for. But
these are all great ideas, Ger, but because they're bang right in the centre of town now. I know we have this wonderful boardwalk, and that's been a huge success, but the people are kind of out that direction. You want to bring people right smack into the centre of town.
100%. And again, a hotel in the centre of town, what it'll mean is anybody staying in accommodation, obviously they might spend 1 night, 2 nights, whatever. They're going to obviously naturally go for a stroll around town. They'll flood up onto the main street, the side streets, and every small business will benefit. It doesn't really matter what type of business you are. Everybody is going to benefit either directly or indirectly from tourism. We don't have manufacturing at the moment, and hopefully, following on from our visit with the idea, that may happen down the road, but we have a great opportunity right now that we can do something for ourselves. We can, put the building blocks in place and, stop the rot. We've too many businesses closing on the main street, and we just need to look after those businesses. We need to support them. They're all 1, 2, 3 or 4 jobs, and they quickly mount up, and every job is so valuable.
And you need that vision as well, Ger, because going back into even tougher times, the austere years after World War II in the 1940s, 1950s, people had a vision, and they drew up plans, and lo and behold, we had this fantastic hilltop hotel.
Yeah, you've got to see
which was at the time considered state of the art. Exactly. So you're looking in that kind of that type of similar vision.
100%. We've got to look at the bigger picture. We've got to see where we're going to be in 5 years' time, 10 years' time. Obviously, with it's likely that there may be a recession coming. Obviously, with the cost of electricity and that, it's putting a huge pressure on businesses, employment. Fuel costs have been very high all this year. Obviously they're dropping at the moment, which again puts pressure on families, puts pressure on everybody. But I think there's a huge opportunity for, I suppose, if you look at there are positives and negatives and everything. We've had a lot of Ukrainian people who've come to Ireland. if you look on the positive side of that, there's a huge opportunity now for a hotel, because a lot of hotels around the country have lost accommodation because of that. So therefore, if we had a hotel in Youghal, it's another destination where they may not be able to go as freely to places like Killarney or Westport or or Dublin. Then that will attract people to town. People in town will spend money, and obviously it'll benefit everybody.
Ger, it's a pity people can't see this magnificent brochure here in front of us, but we'll just go on to the next proposal there. Now, an outdoor activities hub, that's the Motorhome Caravan Park, and you're talking about out where the windmill, I call it, out near the leisure complex, is that correct?
Well, that's what we were proposing. Obviously, it's very evident the last year, 2 years, there are no motorhome facilities in Youghal. It's not a huge development. It's probably not a huge cost to put it in place. We don't have it. We don't have a designated site. Obviously, people coming in motorhomes will spend money. They're going to go to restaurants. They'll go to the cinema. They'll buy food, and probably maybe they'll cook a little bit themselves. They're out walking. They might buy something in shops. It's people coming to town. We don't have a motorhome facility. If it was combined, there's a fabulous facility above in Greg-the-Man in Kilkenny, and they have got an outdoor activity centre with it. Obviously, the ideal site, as you say, would be next to Aura. I know there was something we talked about a couple of years ago. It didn't happen, and I think we got to be positive. There's no point in looking at the past. We need to look at the future. What can we do now? What can we do today? What can we do next week to help you all? So I think Cork County Council are planning on putting a motorhome into what we call Tides Car Park and putting a link to the Greenway. The downside of that is we're losing car spaces at the summer, which are very valuable. But look, the main thing is we need parking for motorhomes. We need so they can plug in, they can obviously get rid of waste, they can use facilities and take part.
And of course, Ger, there's been an explosion in the motorhome campervan market since the COVID and the staycation.
Definitely, huge amount, and
that spillover now is where we're
exactly.
at.
I see the one outside in Red Barn, and there's people will come and they'll spend 8 months of the year solid there. They say long term, you can't get accommodation at the weekends. It's I think about 30 motorhomes will fit there, and they're full every weekend, which is great to bring people in.
Ger, the next proposal there. Now this is Ashton Court. This is the Loreto Convent, as you and I would know it, and this belongs to the lads from the Red Barn Construction, who did the magnificent refurbishment of the Regal, and what a job they done there. What's this project here for a business hub? Is that correct?
So basically, it's a co-working hub. So there's obviously demand around the country for, I suppose, larger hubs rather than what we have here in Youghal, where the Cork County Council have one, which is ideal for small enterprises, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 people. But a co-working hub would be for somebody who's coming in with maybe a larger enterprise, want to put in 20 or 30 jobs. They would take a floor of a co-working hub, and it's a way of getting started, and maybe the business would grow from there, or maybe they'd always be 20 or 30 jobs, but it would be jobs in a larger scale. So that is the proposal for that at the moment. So we'll just see where that goes. It obviously needs backing, and see what happens. But again, it would bring jobs into town, would bring probably more of the IT type jobs in, especially now that we have the high-speed broadband, and more people working in town. There's more spend. Back to the same story, more jobs, more money for everyone. Ger,
the high-speed broadband, that's going to be in town, I think, in the first week in the new year.
Well, it's certain areas it's coming on stream.
January the 4th and January the 11th.
Yeah, but as my knowledge is that some of it is on stream already, so which would make a huge difference. Obviously, an awful lot of people working from home, and working from home could mean working in a co-working hub as well. And again, it's
so if you have this high-speed broadband in this working hub, it's a match made. It could be a great runner.
100%. You can work with any company in the world. When you have high-speed broadband.
Are you talking about that building there to the right of the Loreto?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, Ger. Ger, the other one there is it's steeped in Youghall's history with film and photo archive, going back to the early years of the 20th century with the Horgans collection and all the other collections is in between, including the Burke collection up to with the Moby Dick from 1954 and many others private. Andy Kelly, a collector from Over the Bridge, has over 10,000 images and film as well. What's the proposal for that?
So I suppose the proposal is very similar to what I know people are familiar with, the Epic Museum in Dublin. It's a digital museum. It's probably one of the few digital museums in the world. So the idea would be to digitise maybe up to the 100,000 pieces of film or photo archive that we have. Then obviously we're going to need a building for it. So again, it's again for attracting tourism. The advantage of having a digital is that it can be projected on to any surface you want. They can be changed overnight, so you could have a different exhibition every week. You could have different rooms with different exhibitions, and it would mean that people wouldn't just come once, but they keep coming back. And again, it's another attraction for tourism. Youghal, of course, you know you're very much involved in that, Michael, and it's real. It would be shame to lose all the film and photos that are out there.
So important to preserve all that work
forevermore.
The kickback from that as well, of course, is this cultural tourist that the Fáilte Ireland are pushing now as well, and you get these tourists from all year round to visit this place.
That's right. Again, it's not dependent on the weather. It's and again, like I suppose it's like everything. It's like we have some indoor attractions now, which are great. Like we have the private attractions like Perks Entertainment Centre. We have the Cork County Council run ones like the Clockgate Museum, St Mary's Collegiate Church. Then you have the outdoor attractions like the boardwalk and that. So this would be more of an indoor attraction, so it doesn't really matter what the weather is any time of the year. And again, as you know yourself, UCC are backing this project, and hopefully that we can get it to fruition.
Dr. Gwenda Young was being interviewed in community radio Youghal there during one of the film exhibitions there about 2-3 years ago, and she called Youghal the cradle of Irish film. Well,
there you are. They're the people who know, and again, and I suppose really the Youghal Business Alliance are only, I suppose, the vehicle who are trying to put all this in place. And it's great to pull in the expertise of yourself, Michael, and Dr. Gwenda Young, and other people in that sector. And they're the people who've put so much of their life into this, and it would be great to preserve it.
Ger, you put a lot of work in the brochure, the Business Alliance, and all the people there were mentioned. How did the meeting go? What was the overall feedback for you? Did you feel?
My own personal opinion was that the reaction was disappointing. It was less than positive. I suppose that's it. I don't want to say too much more about it. I suppose we're there. We're trying to push Youghal. We're trying to promote Youghal. I thought we'd get more support, but again, it is what it is. We'll do what we're going to do. We're still going to drive ahead, and we have a lot of other supports in place and other. I suppose government agencies who are supporting us in a big way, and we will drive ahead with our projects, and our goal will be to get as many of these projects to fruition as possible over the next year or two.
Well, the ideas are so good, Ger, but when you talked a bit negative there, can you explain a bit more?
Well, I don't really want to go into it. It's just really, I suppose, what I said. The reaction, I suppose, across the board from our invited guests was less than positive. I would have felt that we put a lot of effort, we put a lot of I suppose resources behind the meeting. It cost a bit of money to put it together, and it is what it is. We are where we're at. So at least we know where we stand, which is the important thing, and we know now what we have to do to bring those projects to fruition.
Okay, Ger. An interesting article in the Irish Examiner and the Your Youghal News this week as well. There's talk of development out in Seafield Fabrics, as we know, Seafield Fabrics, Blackwater Cottons area. There was the factory that employed a lot of people. It's been derelict for a long, long time now. It's waiting for something to be done out there. And can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, it's very positive. Phase one of, again, it's Red Barn Construction, and it's people who've put obviously put so much into Youghal over the last 4 or 5 years. Obviously starting with the Parklands, the rig site at the time, and they've now all completed the site. The last few houses are being finished up there. They're all sold. Now we saw what they did below in the Regal cinema. We've stayed at the Art Cinema. They have put other money into different projects around Youghal. They bought the Seafield site, and the phase 1 of the development's 33 housing project, which is phase 1. Phase 2 is obviously will happen probably in the next 12 months. They're going to preserve, just in case anybody is worried about the Art Deco design and the Seamus Murphy carving, all that section of the building will be totally preserved. That'll be on phase 2 of the project. They have plans in place for that, which are very exciting, and it's something new for Youghal, and I think it'll be brilliant. So it'll be great for that area of the Strand to have so much more accommodation there. Accommodation is very badly needed. Where I suppose, look, it's the same all over the country, but it's great to see Red Barn Construction putting money to Youghal. And they're, I suppose, one of the few builders who are putting money back into Youghal and who are building houses at the moment, which is great to see.
Well, that's great, Ger. But there was people wondering about that lovely Art Deco style tower with those glass blocks and that Seamus Murphy carving. But if there's anything to go by with those lads in Red Barn Construction from what they've done down the Regal, which was a similar Art Deco type building, and the craftsmanship, and they brought that back to life, it'll be just amazing to see this the front entrance kept as well as the 33 houses.
No, it'll be fabulous. And like, if you take that block, then you're going to have obviously the first phase, which has 33 houses. I think there's probably more housing units in the second phase, and then if you move along, then you have that fabulous obviously entertainment spot again. You have Perks Entertainment Centre, and then you have the Ned O'Connell furnishings at the end. So it'll finish that part of the town very nicely. And of course you have Youghal Greyhound track across the road, which are doing fantastic. And it's great for Youghal. Again, the Greyhound track will attract people. Perks Entertainment will attract people, and that's what we want: more entertainment, more attractions in town, along with accommodation.
Okay, Ger, how are you doing yourself? You employ 30 people in town with the All News, the Middleton News, and your printer and your Boardwalk Cafe out the Strand and the one that were down the Mall. How are things going in general for you?
Yeah, they're going well. Obviously, we're working hard at it. In February, I'll be 40 years in the printing business, which is a long time. And it's good.
And of course, you were out in the Seafield working out there at one time as well back in those days.
That's right. I was in the building in Seafield we just mentioned, and we had some great days with Seafield Technical Textiles with John Parker was manager out there. He did a fabulous job, and great characters working out there. And I had my printing business out there.
And with the textiles, didn't you end up at one stage doing silk screen printing on making bags for the German post office or something like that?
That's right. Yeah, we went out there and we spent 6 months. We were operating 7 in the morning to 11 at night for 6 months, printing an order for the German mails at the May post office, and they were obviously Seafield Technical Textiles were weavers and dyers of cloth. They were also supplying high-tech companies like Gore-Tex with some of the fabulous quality material that they were providing, and it's great to see the building being brought back to life, and it'll be great. It's a fabulous location. It's on the flat. It's near the beach. Obviously you've got shops. You've got it's a perfect location for housing.
Well, if they keep that Art Deco style tower, wouldn't that be fantastic for the history of the people that worked and associated with that there throughout all the decades since the 1940s since it was built? And similarly, wouldn't it be great to see that Kathleen and May in town, and that for the heritage and the culture of the marine town for all the fishermen that have been on board that as well?
Yeah, it would be fabulous, and then a hotel down the quay. So we're not looking for much, really.
Just finally, accommodation. Accommodation is a big thing, bigger thing, I think, in 2023. Can you tell me an update on that?
Well, I suppose at the moment, the calculation at the moment, we 58 rooms for accommodation in Youghal.
That's not enough. No,
it's look. If we had 500 rooms, obviously that's kind of really where we need to be. It's just a huge challenge. If there's anybody out there, any contacts, or if anybody knows somebody might be interested in getting into the hotel business, Youghal is a fabulous location. The amount of what we can offer to tourists, Like we can see what Castlemartyr and what Ardmore, the benefits that those two villages are getting out of the 5-star hotels, Castlemartyr Resort on one side and the Cliff House Hotel on the other. Youghal has so much to offer the tourist with the right offering in the tourism industry. We now have a site which is reasonably priced, I think, for what it is, and who knows, maybe in 5 years' time we'll have a state-of-the-art hotel down there and a function room, and but look, we'll keep pushing.
Okay, listen, thanks very much, Ger. Will you come back to us again early in the new year maybe and keep us up to date as regards all these proposals?
Yeah, obviously we'll have press releases coming out as regards to Kathleen and May. We were expecting at least one ministerial visit in January, so we've a lot on the pipeline. We'll keep working away behind the scenes, and when we have something to report, and we really appreciate yourself, Michael, for your support, and CRY for the coverage, and it's great to keep the people of Youghal informed of what's happening, and especially when there's such a positive story. We've a lot of negativity in the press from time to time, and it's nice to have something positive and something that we can all get behind and work towards.